welcome all the participants to the daily session. I would like to take this opportunity to introduce today's resource person, Dr. Priyatam Kumar, who has graciously accepted our invitation to join us today. He is a professor and PG coordinator at School of Electronics and Communication, KLE Technological University, Hubballi. He has completed his education from NIT Surathkal and PhD from BDU, Belagavi. He has 35 years of working experience. His areas of expertise include embedded systems, wireless mobile communication, RTAS, wireless sensor networks, etc. He has published several papers in reputed journals. We are honored to have you with us today, sir, to share your knowledge. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone.
Headphone.
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, I'm a little today. My topic of discussion is a little away from the academic process. So, routine things we are doing some subject, getting expertise in that subject, and trying to teach that, and trying to achieve some milestones in that particular subject. That's exactly what we are trying to do. But as we are looking into the new Indian scenario, the things involved in the education are going to be changing. So if you start like you take with the earlier education system, we had the Gurukul Paddhati, where one teacher used to be there, several students. Once the teacher is satisfied with the performance of that particular student, then he used to say, yes, you are graduated. It may take 10 years, it may take 15 years, or it may take 20 years, depends upon the performance of that particular student. So Guru is to decide whether he is reached that minimum requirements or whatever the requirements of that particular Gurukul, then he used to be graduated. That's the first process. Later on, we are ruled with British. So they feel that the kind of students whom they are getting from the Gurukul are not able to cope up with their system. So in their system, they need the clerical staff. That means somebody has to maintain the process, maintain the records, and they should be able to understand what the higher ups are speaking, and accordingly they need to manage everything. So because of that process, so it was designed by the Macaulay. So the Macaulay education process was started. So in this Macaulay education process, there was a set of things are going to be defined, and the students able to learn that. Learn is they need to remember it more. Rather than learning, they used to remember it and reproduce the things in the examination, and then based upon that, the teacher used to evaluate and he used to get the degree. So in the mechanic process, it is so monotonous that if student wants to do something out of the box, it was restricted. The answer is, it is not there in the syllabus, so you cannot with those things. Or it is out of our purview, so we cannot go with the things. That was the problem. So as now the modern India is evolving, so the policies are getting changed. So in between, at the end of this Macaulay process, still the Macaulay process is not the completely out of the system, it is still existing. To hold that, again we are dependent on the NBA process. So this NBA process is dependent upon the foreign university. Okay, so they decide what should be the education system, what are the things to be considered. And so we came to the graduate attributes. So we have something around 12 graduate attributes. So we need to check whether the student is able to complete these 12 graduate attributes or not. So once, how we are going to decide it? So I think I will take a little time on that. So this is the MBA process. Now, above the MBA process, we want to evolve our own Indian method. So in the Indian methodology, now we have the National Education Policy. So in the MBA, we used to follow something. But here in the National Education Policy, you have to evolve your own system. You have to develop your own system and see to it that how best it is going to get implemented in the practice. So as we look into the development of education policy, the things as the days requirement, the things are getting changed. Now, one example I would like to quote at present. What is the difference between our education system and the Europe? Or one specific example I prefer to take is Israel education system. Israel nowadays it is very much in the talk. So what is the difference between Israel and India? Israeli, they don't have place, only they have developed one country, Israel, taking it out of Palestine. So that's the only country what they can have. But India, we do have only one country as a Hindu country, through which we have to define things. So in the Israeli education, their process of education is different. Look at Indian education as a parent. If as a parent, if I speak, what I will do for my children is I have to give them good education. After getting education, they should be do some job, some good job where financially it is going to be beneficial or something like that. If I am getting a package of 10 lakhs, it's okay. If my son is getting a package of 20 lakhs, somewhere corner of the heart, it will be really good. And if he's getting a package of 30 lakhs, happy. So that's it. So what we are trying to do, I am making my son to work for somebody. That's our Indian mentality. We don't want to take any kind of risk. We don't want to invest. That's how our things has developed. So we are constrained only to these things. But if you look at the Israeli concept. So Israeli concept is they want to work hard. They have to work hard for their existence. For us, no need. If my father has done some property, I can live on it. So somehow I can manage to survive myself. But if you look at the Israeli, it is very harsh. Any war happens, 50% of the population used to vanish. Okay, at the time of Nazi, where the German people, they almost killed 80% of male population of the Israel. So it is very hard for them to survive. So they need to think little hard. So in their education system, they will not teach as a subject. They want to see that now if you want to learn this particular subject, what you can achieve out of it, what you can design, what you can develop, what kind of self-employment you can create for yourself. So they have the concept of initiations, or we say they're startups. So always every Israeli kid will have a dream to start his own industry or his own startup. The culture, because of the background, the culture has developed in that sense. But here, if you look on the Indian conditions, we have more protected thing. We never expose our children. How many of us, like we parents, we ask our children to work for the military? Hardly 10%, because we have that protected environment. Now, even in the education also, we have that protected environment. Now we need to come out of this. And now the people have to, or the children has to think out of box kind of situation. So if I want to make that kind of situation, the policy has to be changed. See, earlier what used to happen, if I want to go for medical, till 10th we have a common thing. PUC, I have to learn the biology because I want to go for the medical. And then I have to go for that entrance examination, whatever it is, then I can get into the medical. In the PUC, I have to take science stream. Now, if I take a commerce stream because of certain things, can I come to medical? Answer is no. We don't provide that because that background is not there. Now, if you look at what is that background, only one subject, biology. Other than that, everything is same. So why you are insisting so much on that kind of concept? So that's the reason why the national education policy has come. So we have a process initiated. Even if you take the European countries or European countries, till the boy reaches 8 at the age of 8, he will not do the writing process. He will not do the writing process because only the mental thing has to increase, vocabulary has to increase. They will have very good vocabulary, but they never write. And here in the Indian conditions, what will happen? We make a function, and in that we make him to write the sheet. From there onwards, as the parents will start insisting him to start writing. So the strength in the hands may not be that good. So the quality of handwriting may not be there. We had some other things which are related to our culture or whatever it is. That's fine. But now, as the things are changing, we need to adopt the new policies. So here, the same kind of education policy we are trying to bring in terms of national education policy. So till 10th, it is divided into several groups. And as he comes, as he joins with the other higher process, now they want to make PUC to degree as a one stretch. So if he does it for 3 years, it will count as a diploma. Then if he does it for 4 years, it will count as a degree. If he continues the education with 5 years, it will count as masters. So here, at any point of time, the student can take a decision. If he is not able to cope up with the situation, he can terminate at 3 years. Now what will happen with our system? If a boy terminates at 3rd year of engineering, we will not consider him as an engineer because he has to complete the 4th year and then we will say the system. Now, in the education policy, if he is unable to continue with the system, we say that 3 years we can give a diploma degree. So he will acquire a particular degree in that particular domain or area, whatever it is. If a boy is interested to enhance further his studies, so he can go up to PhD in the same sequence. No need of writing the many exams or that kind of things. They want to eliminate. So whenever I want to eliminate some of the things, what should be the quality of education at the base? So that's very important. If that minimum quality of the education is reaching that benchmark, then with the national education policy is going to be appreciated. Otherwise, it is not appreciated. The example of Israel, what I have given is, they will have startup. They don't want to work under anybody. One thing you know, who is the strongest in American economy? Americans? It is Israelis who handle or who controls the entire finance of America. It is in their hands. That's the reason why Israel is now getting that much aid or whatever it is from the US. It is because of the Israelis. So now if you want to make India as a strongest country, so what is that? We have to have our own industrial sector. We should not borrow something from somebody. One example on this is nowadays the satellite process is very, very popular. So India is launching so many satellites and other things. In the satellites, we are going to have one structure called antenna. Okay? So antenna is going to be a spherical kind of structure. For that spherical kind of structure, you will have small antennas which are on all the 360 degrees. Now what will happen? If I want to communicate to a particular point, only energy has to transmit in that particular antenna. The remaining antenna should not be activated. If I activate means I have to give more energy. So now all our satellite depends upon the solar energy. We may not be able to provide that much energy. So we need to disconnect. We need to disconnect. So the cost of that particular antenna, how much it would be? On the satellite I am using. Size is not too big, it's a small one, like a ball kind of structure, or maybe a football. What would be the cost? Some number you can guess. You could say that it has to be. How much? 10 rupees, 20 rupees, something like that. We have to have a number. Earlier, we used to pay 100 crore rupees for that antenna. Because it is designed and done in the US, we used to buy it from the US for our application. Then ISRO people started working on that. They came out still better version. Still better version. Now, what is the cost? It is 3 crores. Earlier we used to pay 100 crores, but now we got a still better version made in India. The cost is 3 crores. So what happened here? If we have the people to design and develop this kind of things, the cost of development will reduce. And the development can happen enhancing multiple fields. So that's the reason why the Make in India concept came into the system. So for this Make in India, who has to do? Is the world people like me? We can contribute too much to the society. It is the young people, young generation, who can further support or help the growth of Indian nation. So how to adopt the new things in their mind? So when you need to put the things in their mind, when they are tender, when they are young, if you give a consolidated ideas into their mind, that will start growing. So our intention is to put the proper right seed in the right brain. So as he grows, the tree will grow and it will help the nation. So that is the basic concept of national education policy. So now what they are trying to do is what Israelis are able, how the Israelis are able to achieve these things. One thing you understand, if you look at the geographical conditions of Israel, it is so hard. Okay, like it is not like our fields with a lot of green and other things. No, it is desert kind of thing, and they have very less resource of water. You know the amount of fruits and other things what they grow in the small place with a small thing. They are full of fruits. The tree will contain full of fruits. So they are trying to put their ideas or the thinking how we can change the basic conditions, genes of that particular tree, and how we can make it grow. Second thing is, it should not, they not use the pesticides. So in the genes only they make modifications, such that the insects or something like that should not sit and eat the things. So that is how the thinking has to be changed. So earlier I said, with my Indian culture, I am happy that if you go morning at 10 o'clock to the school, 5 you come back, do some homework, memorizing things, and then when it gives the project to the children, who has to do? Already we are educated, we have done everything, but now we are doing those things.
ಅವಾಗ ಮಾಡಿರಲ್ಲ ಈಗ
ಮತ್ತೆ ನೀವು ಅವ್ರು ಈಗ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ so we don't really want to do that kind of things. That's the reason why now we are trying to go for the new policy. So from the first standard, or they don't prefer this LKG and UKG. First standard at the age of 7 years, precisely. Okay, that means till that 7 years he will learn the culture at home. Once he learns the culture, then the education start. In that culture case, the Japan is the best one. They treat culture so beautifully and they make children independent. Now, as I know the Japan, I will give one example. If you want to make your child to go to school, say assume that he is in 3rd standard, what you will do? What normally any Indian does? Make him ready, bring him onto the main road, wait till that auto or bus, whatever it comes. Then you ensure that, push him into the bus, ensure that he is sitting in a particular safe place. Safe place. Then you will be happy, you will come back. Once he is coming back from the school, again you will go there. First you will ensure that where he is sitting. Because tomorrow you should not do that mistake. Just standing somewhere or something like that. You will ensure that. Then you will ask him to get down. You will hold his hand and bring him. This is the thing. Because that's what I do. We have to protect it. Everything what we want to do is protect. So this protection, is it a part of their growth or not? So he will feel, no need for me to think. Once I get down, somebody else is there. He will hold me and take me home. Nothing for me to worry. This is our culture. And if you look at the Japan, what they does is, come out of the house, they are asking you, how many of you will dare to do that? Why they do it? Because the neighbor or anybody in that colony, whoever is outside, he will have an eye on the boy or the girl till he reaches the road. One or the other person will have an eye on them, and the bus, once he get into the bus, okay. But here, this is our culture. We really not bother other neighbors. Kasa chalo first. Number chalo we think like okay, it looks ugly. So this is, I don't say, we have that tendency. If it is not mine, we not hardly we think of it. One best example, I usually you think it, don't tell it now. If you get up from your bed, what you do? Cleanly fold the things, spread, properly adjust, then you will come out. If you go to hotel, how many of you do this?
Sir, we have paid that one for them to do that one.
Sir?
We are paid for hotel to do
Sir,
that work.
that's what I told. I don't want to do any debate.
Yeah.
My thing is, at home, what you do? Are you doing the same thing at the hotel?
They are not giving any discount to do that job.
I'm just talking about the culture. At home, we are different. Outside, we are different. Okay. Maybe not everyone does that. Some people will be good because as they treat, wherever they go, they treat that it is their place and they will take care of the things. One example, if I can give, is Mata Amrutanandamayi Institute. It is in Coimbatore. It's in Coimbatore. They don't have water facility. The water has to come from 30 kilometers. They bring water from the tankers. And they have kept the campus very neat and clean with the lavish green. That's a very important thing. How they do? They have the management system there. If something fallen on the road, paper or whatever it is, the first person who is crossing that, he will lift it and put it in the dustbin. That is the culture. In our institute, are we practicing that? By mistake, somebody has thrown a paper or something like that. How many of us will take an initiation to bend and pick that one and put it into the garbage box? That's the culture. So now, in the education system, we have something fixed in the mind. It has to be like this. Set of syllabus, set of books are there. I have those questions answers. If I am able to buy it in a better way, I will score better. I will get a better job. That's the thing. Now, in the end, we are trying to go out. So that's the reason why I have this question. OBE, outcome-based education. Now just we are trying to make the difference between earlier what we used to study and what is this outcome-based education. Is this outcome-based education, is it a path of success? Why that question mark? Who has to make it success? It's we. Every individual should join the hands. Then only the success is going to be possible as a society. Otherwise, success will not be possible. So here the question mark clearly says that whether we are part of it or we are not part of it. So to say that whether we are part of it or not part of it, I should know what it is first. I should know what it is first. So if you look at the OBE courses, same thing. It is not changing. We have the curricula. Somebody has to define the curricula for the entire system. So the curriculum is there. Then I am assessing that curriculum. That means I am teaching it. After teaching, I am giving the tests or education, whatever it is. I am doing the assessment. So So in the assessment, how do you look to do the assessment? Yes. How do you do the assessment? Now we are 3 people who are teaching one subject for 3 divisions in this system. There has to be uniformity. Or if you go to the university for evaluation, 100 colleges will be there. You people are evaluated there. What you will have? You will have called a scheme. What the scheme tells? For these many things, these many marks are assigned. And these are the expectations and these are the marks assigned to these expectations. Once he reaches that expectation, we can give marks. Otherwise, you are not supposed to give the marks. But what normally we do? If you follow that very strictly, the passing percentage will come down. Again, it is going to be a boomerang out to me. So you don't want to take risks. So if he has written a little bit also, you try to do the one difference what I could find with respect to this Indian evaluation system and the Western evaluation system. Western evaluation, just because of my son, he was a teaching assistant there. We had some discussion on the evaluation process. I said, no, we evaluate 60 papers like this. He said, it is too much. I can evaluate only 15, not more than that. I said, no, even if you give 100 also, I can evaluate what is there for you. He said, you know what you will do? He said, I will read with that one. And I will assign the marks. Anybody questions you about the marks? I said, yes, sometimes children will come. I am expecting 8 and you have given 5. What do you do? If I feel it's okay, I will make it 8. And if the child is humble, I can make it 8. Humble request. Consider it. He said, we don't do that. And I am giving 5 out of 8. I have to give a reason why I am giving 5. So when the reason is mentioned there, the children will not come. And I said, for 60 people writing so many reasons because I have 8 questions to evaluate, it is not possible. That's what I do. 60, you can do 60 or 100, but I can do only 15. Now, can we think something of this kind? It's an awareness thing. So for the child, what he has written all the time, he feels that he has written everything. But as a teacher, I say that these are like an aware, you are not able to fulfill. So that they will give the comments. So on that comment, it will take a little more time to read the process and do the evaluation thing. So now there is a difference between our evaluation process and their evaluation process. Of course, the set of students are different. Everything is time bounded and everything is individual basis. Here it won't be like that. If I give an assignment, one person will does that assignment, the remaining people will copy and give. But still I give 10 marks to all because everybody has written the assignment. That evaluation process, again, whatever we are looking in the outcome-based education, the evaluation process has to change. To some extent. Now we are going for these projects, labs. We are putting them as the rubrics. That is what we are looking at. Maybe I think I have one slide to discuss on that. And reporting practices in education. Nowadays it is sounding too much. What are the, I think some of you have visited our university recently for these practices. That is, what are the methodologies? Because now we are in the developing state. So as we are in developing state, many people are practicing many different aspects. So in that aspects, which are going to be more effective to understand, to make the children understand, and other process. I think the other day, myself and Chandrasekhar, we were talking to my son. He is doing his, pursuing his PhD. He was talking on importance of maths. Importance of maths. Why one should, first, whether maths is required or not. In the new things, they are trying to remove the mathematics. But now what you think? Maths is required or not? It is required. So it is required means in what sense? Well, maths is required, that's right. In what sense you require the maths?
But VT was removing maths.
We are not really interested in anybody's view. I'm just in a open discussion. Why maths is required? In what sense we have to study the maths? See, we are engineers. We are doing engineering. So it is an application side. How best I can use maths as a tool to develop it. So how our educational system is providing that. That's what he gave an example of PUC2. What was in the PUC2? They used to solve so many people. This will come for the examination, this will not come for the examination. And children will prepare for that. And he will score 100 out of 100 in maths. As a parent, I am very happy. But whether really he has learned the maths or not, we are not interested. So now, in the practicing, instead of saying that, even some of us also will tell in the something like subject like DSP or electromagnetic theory, it is important for examination. Means what? By heart. And reproduce it. So here, how I am going to practice, how I am reporting different practices in the life. That's what you need to see. And finally, it is higher order of learning has to be there. What is this higher order of learning? What do you mean by the term higher order of learning? Learning is somebody, now I am teaching you, you are trying to know through terminologies, you are learning. So what is that higher order? Cost.
Which cannot be measured in
Able to apply the learning.
Real-time applications.
In OBE we don't accept this sentence. Everything has to be measurable. Everything has to be measured.
but not in the written examination.
Yes?
Able to apply whatever he has learned, able to apply things.
One simple example, I think many times I give this. You know the screwdriver. What is the purpose of screwdriver? If I teach you, this is screwdriver, what for it is used? So screw or unscrew something, you can use. That's all. As a teacher, I can teach. Now what is the higher order of learning? Once screwdriver is in your hand, you have to start thinking how I can use it. It all comes on the situation. Now you have to cut open the coconut. Can you use how to use? It is higher order. Okay, and door is there is a high air force, so the door is not stationary. So what you can do, you can put that one, make it stop. How you are using it. Okay, somebody comes to rob you. You got a screwdriver. It will become self-protection. That is higher. That means whatever is taught, you are using it. That's one part. Beyond that, how you can use it. Maths you should take in that sense. I am learning Fourier series, Fourier transform. When it comes to a certain application, how I can apply that such that my solution becomes easier. Why now AI and ML will have more importance? Because you are trying to give a different dimensions for that, different dimensions for that. So that's how the AI will come into the picture. AI make us more lazy, but still we love to use the AI because it is more towards the comfort side. So this is what we are talking about, the higher order learning, and not by just adding the credit, it is not of use. So that's the basic definition of OBE. So what we had earlier thought, we want to change a little bit with respect to the OBE. Either it may be the curriculum, or it may be the process of evaluation, or it may be the learning process. So we need to make a little bit of change in the system. Now we talk with respect to the student. So first one is, we are teaching to a group. So in the group, what we need to see is whether every student is learning that or not is the important. So individual care has to be taken. The key things student should understand. Now I am teaching a particular subject is, what is the expectation you to learn? Expected things from you to learn that particular things. And what kind of qualities you can develop from that. So for example, if I am teaching them digital circuits, so now the motivation for them is digital circuit, digitally it is able to control something. Earlier we had the relays, 0 and 1. Now we are having a digital system or a NOT gate where they can have 0 and 1. 0 and 1. So now only I am teaching this much. Basic gates I am teaching, universal gates I am teaching. The student has to think, in what combination I can use these gates. So again you are going for the pin Macklin's-Key technique, or you are going for the corner map technique. You are familiar with the corner map techniques? What it gives basically? Corner map will give the simplified equation, Boolean equation for a given application. You know who has really designed that table? The table was designed by Boole. B-O-A-L-E. But why it is called as corner map? Otherwise everything will call Boolean equation, Boolean map, something like that. Why we call it as a corner map? So Boolean, what he has given is 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. He has given in a sequential order. So whatever the equation he used to get out of it is not the simplified version. Further it cannot be simplified. The Boolean corner map is, once the equation is simplified, further it cannot be simplified. Maybe you can convert it from one gate to the other gate, but it cannot be simplified. What Kamla has done is, he said, when you are taking two states, only one state has to change. 0, 0, 0, 1. Only one state has changed. 0, 1, 2, 1, 0, both the states are changing. Instead of that, you revert it. So 1, 1 it comes in the third place, 1, 0 in the fourth place. Now you look at the thing. There is going to be only one change. Then you simplify. You substitute the values and simplify the equation. Further it is not going to change. So that's the logical thinking, higher order of thinking. So because of that higher order of thinking, the equation is simplified. So the name is called, though it is developed purely by Boolean, but because of one logical thinking, it is called as the Karma map or Karma map tables. So that's how the student has to develop. He has to think out of the box. This is one method, fine. Can I do it? any other way what we can use it. So that's exactly we are looking at the system. What is this OBE emphasis on? So what your student should be able to do at the end of the course. Nowhere we are talking about the examination. Nowhere we are talking about the examination. It is capability of learning. It is the capability of learning. And assessing the student whether they are able to do what they are expected to do. Now we need to change our evaluation process. So now, instead of derive this equation, already it is derived. If you want to put it, he can understand that, memorize that, and he can put it. Shall I ask such type of questions? Not required. Because these are the fundamentals which I need to teach, I have taught him. Out of these fundamentals, he should solve the problems. Now instead of that derivation, you try to give an application problem and see what is the level of understanding, how he can use the system and how he can work with the things. So here we go for the Bloom's taxonomy. First thing is the definition, understanding, then you are going for the higher evaluation. You got a set up. So what kind of questions I am supposed to ask? So I have to train the kids in that particular manner. And I have to ask them to my expected level, they should be able to write the things. Then only I can give full marks. Otherwise, I cannot give the marks. And whatever we are teaching, it should be according to the expectation of the student. If the student wants to learn more, I have to give the facilities of that kind. So many times it happens. If you are teaching a class of 60 people, maybe one or two will come and discuss in a different way. You have to embrace that. Because they are the people who are really thinking in the different way. Everybody has supposed to think in that direction, but it is not happening. So there you have to be cautious. So more emphasis given on learning process and how you are going to use that learning process in the future. And here basically the learning outcome, what exactly is understanding. That means whatever I am teaching, the other person who is sitting in front of me should be able to understand. It should have sense. Whatever I am speaking, it should have the sense. If it is no sense, whatever I am teaching, if you are not able to follow it, that means the communication physically fails. So I am not able to convey anything to you. And second thing is flexible. Flexible, always we talk with respect to the least resistance. I am very strict. Flexible means what? What do you look for? I am very strict as a teacher in a particular subject. So it is asked me to do, be flexible. Means what? What's your expectation if I want to be flexible? Yes?
Simplify. Simplify, sir. Or make it as simple.
Simplify means according to your convenience. When you are asking something, I say no. Now you are asking me to be flexible. So what I have to do? Yes?
So flexible.
Accepting the solution.
Flexible.
So flexible, we're talking in terms of flexible with respect to student, or flexible with respect to the curriculum, or flexible with respect to the faculty.
Learning outcome Must be. Understandable means what? Whatever I am teaching, you should understand.
Yes.
Flexible means how you look into the terms. It's the general term, flexible. How you look into that term.
Level of understanding maybe with respect to the expectation of teacher that can be flexible.
Flexibility in selecting the subjects. Flexibility in selecting
That's what I am restricting it to a particular subject. Let me take DSP. I am teaching you. I am making you to understand. Now it comes to flexible. How do you interpret it? The flexible. I have given an assignment to you. How you are expecting me to be flexible to you?
The approach of the student may deviate with what you might have taught. The approach of the student in getting a solution may be different, or like whatever you might taught, you might have
Flexibility in
taken
answers.
a different approach, but I got a solution. So there we need to be flexible and accept that yes,
No, multiple solutions is always accepted. It is not necessarily that now I want to walk from here to there. Either I can take this path, or I can take this path, or I can take this path. I have to give justification why I am coming like this. Okay. So in the justification I can say that this, you are this. No, just I want to see this closely, so I take this path. It's a valid reason. Actually, everybody will tell when you can walk like this, so comfortable. Why you take this path? I can tell.
Approach is important.
Yes?
Approach.
Approach also is okay. Whatever the kind of approach, ultimately are you reaching the goal or not?
Sir, optimized solution is also important.
Strong basic.
When it comes to the flexible, whether you have reached the goal or not, that's all.
Strong basic.
Understandable, it is done already.
No uniqueness.
Not necessarily.
Need not be a unique one.
Now, how do you treat? Now, that's what I give an example of DSP. I have given an assignment. You are asking me to be flexible.
Customize with respect to student.
Huh?
Customize with respect to student.
Customized means
For today's requirements of learning. He has already understood that.
change of teaching will not come. Understandable. I made it. I made it. The concept is understood. Now I have given an assignment. You have to submit the assignment. Now I want to be flexible there. What kind of flexibility you can expect? I am very strict. That's in mind. Keep in mind.
late submission.
No, that is not flexible. Late
You
submission.
have to do. Maybe few, because of some reasons, I cannot submit this because there will be some general learners will be there. But you have to do that work. There is no change in that.
But you are
But since you are strict now, you are very
so you
strict.
cannot do
Yes.
that.
Then
You
no
cannot
flexibility
do
will come
I
there.
am strict in that particular subject.
But not in
But
respect
not
of
for
submission.
assignment.
In respect to subject only, I have given assignment.
Okay, sir.
If you are a good student, you will submit the assignment in time.
Meantime.
If you are not good enough, you need little more time. Then I can't say you have not submitted on this date, so zero for you. Zero is best, better or 80 is better. 80 is better, that is best. You are not getting that 20 marks there. That 20 marks is not there. The advantage in the US studies, that is, if you are correctly submitted, in time you submitted, you will get bonus marks. For 100, you will get 105. Okay, for that assignment. Second assignment, you got 85 out of 100. You can take that 5 bonus and add here. So you become 90. Third assignment, if you get a bonus, you can add somewhere. So that is flexible. flexible only in other part, not with respect to the
Subject.
study or conceptual things. When I was in ninth standard, the Hindi is a hard thing for us. Okay, so in the examination, really we can't go for higher chapters because the complexity is more. So we used to go and request the teacher, sir, we are not able to do this. Teacher used to tell, वो हिंदी में बताओ, ना हिंदी हमको आते हैं, क्यों आप? Then somehow we learned that okay, sir ये बहुत मुश्किल है, लिखने में तकलीफ होता है, something. Then said okay, if it is so tough, then we can skip that chapter. Is it a flexible thing? Do you call it as a flexible? Many times we do. Somebody will tell that, sir, this chapter is too tough, too mathematical. Okay, I will not ask any questions in that. It's not flexible. So now, how to define the flexible? It is nowhere related to the study issues. It may be related to the other issues. Okay, measurable. Whatever the questions you are asking, whatever you are teaching, it should be measurable. You can't give the vague kind of answers. Measurable means whatever you are asking the question, it should be answerable. Okay, and it should be answerable in that stipulated time. I cannot ask the question where the student will take more time to write that. Then it is not appreciable. So you ensure that whatever the question, because the knowledge, the depth of knowledge, what you have in that subject is much better than the student. Because you have taught it several times. You feel that, okay, because you know the solution, you say that, okay, it is possible to do it. But when it is first time given to the student, it will take a lot of time. So you have to ensure that that question, whatever you are giving, is a measurable one. It should be appeared in the examination, and the student should be able to write that in a comfortable manner, and they should be able to complete the question in that stipulated time. That is the measure. Achievable, a possible one. Whatever the solution, a possible one. And participant oriented. That means individually he has to participate in that. So I am talking to you. If you are asking me a question, you are participating in that. So whatever the discussion happens, either in the classroom or whatever it is, there should be a proper participation thing has to be done. So these are the basic 5 qualities, things, what we are doing in the outcome-based education. The first question, what we get is, the strength is 60. How to manage with these things. And not only we have the teaching load, other than teaching load, we have so many other things. We don't find that. So that's a common thing. But in spite of that, in the new education policy, the things need to be changed. That's why we are looking for this research process, such that the teacher has to change his orientation of thinking. Once he changes the orientation of thinking, that can further percolate to the children. So that's how the quality of education can be improved. So that's the basic thing. It is not that for increment you have to publish 2 papers. You don't take it to the physical thing. Publishing paper means you are involving in something. You are doing research or you are doing the literature survey, something like that, where some learning process will happen to you. So whatever that learning process you have learned, that you need to pass it to the younger generation, such that they can develop this kind of aspect. So basically, there should be some philosophy for everything. So in the OBE philosophy, first is design the curriculum or whatever it is. Then you go for the teaching and learning process. So duration, everything you described there. syllabus is mentioned, chapters wise mentioned, how many hours you need to teach that particular subject or whatever it is. That is the teaching learning process. So in this, it's only classroom, or you want to have some hands-on kind of thing, whatever it is. So according to you, work it out. And in the teaching and learning, it depends upon the teacher. It is not depends upon the system. So teacher can decide what kind of things he can use to check or evaluate the students. So that decision is left to the teacher. Then you have the assessment. In the assessment, you have the, say, for your internals, 10 marks, and then you can have the quiz based upon it. Or you may ask them to come out with a paper or some seminar or some maybe lab exercise or whatever it is, or open-ended experiment, or some model designing in that particular subject. But for everything you have to assign the marks. Now if I say I am taking VDC subject, at the end of the subject I am expecting the students to design one power supply of 5 volt. So when we design the power supply of 5 volt, you have to give some marks. And that has to reflect in the marks card. Means out of 100, that marks, 5 marks should be out of the 100. So that is the assessment, how you are doing the assessment. It is going to be predefined and accordingly you need to work. And this is in the loop. So you want to change the curriculum, maybe today's requirement. Earlier, whatever there, bipolar is not that usage. I want to go for unipolar, change the syllabus. And I want to go for MOSFET, change the syllabus. Because now, whatever the present day conditions, as a teacher, we should have the open eye to see what is happening in the industry. See, ultimately, what is that? How best we are collaborating with the industry. So, what is industry requirements? You try to take them, and then you develop the fundamentals in that particular aspect, and then you grow in the things. So this is the basic philosophy, and it is always in the infinite loop. It's a continuous improvement or continuous learning. So here basically whatever we are teaching or we are learning, we will have the 3 domains. So first domain is called the cognitive domain. So it basically talks about the thinking and knowledge. So whatever subject I am learning, I should think about that particular subject. In what way this subject is useful and where I can use this subject. As I told example of this grammar, I can teach you, it can be used only for spelling and unspelling. But you can think, the structure is so hard, everything is so fine. So where I can use it? So that is thinking. And knowledge. Knowledge is how best you are able to apply it. How best you are able to apply it. So that is the cognitive level. It is totally in the brain. So all the thinking is the cognitive idea. Then we are going for the affective. So from the brain, now we move to the heart. So when I am talking about the heart, it talks about the feeling and attitude. What is this feeling? Feeling is love towards a particular subject. If you make him understand that subject better, you will have the love to learn a little more on that particular thing. Then we have the attitude. Attitude is, many people will say, EMT. Seniors has told it is very tough. Getting 35 is difficult. Restrict you to this part of that. That is attitude. You have to change that attitude. No subject is tough there. That you have to convince. What you are learning is the tool. Making use of this, you are developing further. So it is the fundamental which is required. And instead of, because we can't see the waves, so we are trying to represent them mathematically. So when I say dou by dou x, it tells the wave is in the x content. It contains the x content X, Y, Z if I take X. So that is exactly you need to define them. So it is not mathematical. You have to read it as the conventional data. Instead of writing one paragraph, you are writing with one equation. You see, it is so simple. That is the attitude. That means the children has to change their attitude to look into the subject. Don't treat that it is something hard or whatever it is. That is the heart. Once brain is okay, heart is okay, now you need to apply. Apply is the psychomotor. So your hands. So your brain is working, your heart is supporting that. So heart and soul both are in that work. Now your hands will start working. So the 3H concept. So here, whatever the subject, you make them understand and create a positiveness in their hearts. Once this positiveness is created, then they will start working with that particular subject. So 3 domains of the system we try to define in this paper. So in these domains, whatever I say, whether it is at the lower level or at the higher level. So in the learning outcomes, if you look at the head cognitive thing, it starts with the knowledge and comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, and finally evaluation. So it is a thinking process. So as the person is able to evaluate the things, then you can say that he has reached the highest level of the process. Evaluation is what he should be able to compare with one system to the other system. And he should be able to tell with this what kind of changes I can make in my system. That you have. In the affective receiving, that means when it is somebody talks, you are receiving, then you are responding. If it is comfortable, you respond in a nice way. If it is harsh to you, you respond in a harsher way. Then valuing, whether it is really fruitful or not. Organization, rearrange the things, and internalizing. Internalizing is putting it into the heart, taking it into the heart. And psychometer is imitation. Imitation means somebody has given a circuit, you imitate it, you implement that one. That is the lowest level of application. Then manipulation. Manipulation is change something. Or if you are connecting an amplifier circuit, data is given and you have connected, you got the output. You should not stop there. So you have to manipulate. Manipulate means increase the input. After certain input, they say 40 to 80 millivolt is the input. You given 90 millivolt. What happened? It is clipped. Clipped. So in the manipulation, now I know that above 80 if I go, it is clipping. Manipulation. That is the precision. Precision means what it is doing. Above 80, what is happening? Why the sinusoidal wave has been chopped? The thing is, now you come back to the theory. See the operating point. When the operating point is moving in that linear region, there is no problem. You are getting the result. Once it enters into the saturation, you are getting the clip. So precision will tell that you have to make your system only operating in that active region, active linear region. You should not go beyond that. Articulation, you are making a decision. If I go beyond that, it is entering into the cutoff. So I cannot use it. I know the reason. Wherever I am using amplifier, if I get a chop down, I can say that I am moving into the saturation region, bringing it back to activation. So neutralization. Neutralization is, if the number is too big, normally we call it as a normalization with respect to the underflow and overflow. Two things are there. To manipulate these underflow and overflow, again we call it as the neutralization. So this is how I have to make the process from step by step, one step to the other other to get an excellence in a particular system. Now, as a faculty, what is our role? So now we know that what OBE is looking for. As a faculty, what is that? First thing is my timetable and my class. So once the curriculum timetable is given, subject is allotted to me and number of classes are allotted to me. And first one is the faculty profile which you have to maintain as an individual person. Format I need to be reviewed. That means what is the standard format your institute has. You have to take, you have to look into that. Any modification changes are required. You have to make the modification and keep it with you. And ongoing semester. So ongoing semester is you have a subject course. So course registration. How many people have registered for your subject? How many students are there? And what are the course outcomes I am expecting to do? Your lesson plan or whatever it is. That whole thing has to be there. And then we have the analytics. Once the course is assigned to you, you have prepared the lesson plan and you have started delivering it. In the delivery process, what all things you are looking? You are looking for the attendance. How many people are attending? How many they are not attending? If all of them are attending, there is no issue. Otherwise, you need to communicate with the HOD or whatever it is. And your internal examinations. So what is the syllabus portion? All that is already known factors in that. So that you need to follow. And in the third one is communication. In the communication at the end of your course, some will be not eligible. That we have to integrate. So some action has to be taken on that. So communication means communicating about the performance of the children. So that, and finally is RG. RG means something which you feel that it's a required one which I need to say. So that you can say it here. So as a teacher, you have to maintain one course file. In the course file, you have to have your profile. Then you have to have your timetable. What are the subjects, number of students, what is their attendance, and what are the question papers you are following in the examination. If you have any quizzes or seminars or whatever it is, that should be recorded. And feedback, counseling feedback or whatever it is, related to that particular semester, all the information has to be there in the file. So that is as a faculty, you have to have that particular data. So in the assessment scheme, this is one example. So I can have one test for 15 marks, quizzes for 5 marks, assignment for 5. I can give a project. Not necessarily that every subject should have a project. And final examination is 40 marks. So altogether, I can say this is how my subject, if it is a teacher-centric concept, then you can follow something of this method to evaluate or assign the work. Now we'll come back to the institute. Now how we can organize all these processes into the system. So here institute level you will have the vision and POs. And in the program level you have vision, POs. These three things have to be live with the institute. And PSO is your individual program edge. So something where it is not incorporated. So you are trying to achieve that. So here what are the important terms we look is program educational objectives, POs, program outcomes, course outcomes, assessment and evaluation is other process. So what exactly we look at POs? Why does this PO is required and what is its relevance in the practice? So it is, PO tells that once a boy is graduated, from your department, what is your expectation? Our expectation is he has to do a better thing in the industry, or he has to have his own entrepreneurship, or he can achieve something better. So this I can do only after 3 to 4 years. So if whatever the PEO I have assigned, whether it is done, achieved or not, that's the first thing. And this PEO should guide the department in what direction you are trying to move. Either it may be globally or it may be locally. There is some requirement in the local process, so that should be part of our PEO. And after 4 years, see that local requirement is fulfilled. And faculty members continuously work with all the program in which you people are working, and along with that you have to take care of the stakeholders, the students, and the local employers, industry, alumni. So whenever you are designing the PEOs, you have to seek their opinion. You have to take their feedback. Now I have a boy is graduated. To what extent he is good? If he is very good, that means whatever we are teaching, the methodology what we are following is correct. If not, I have to change the parameters. So for changing purpose, you have to have the feedback in the system. Now the difference between the National Education Policy and NBA. The National Education Policy says that you need a creativity in the children. That is the National Education Policy. So from the childhood, you are trying to grow it. But now what happened in the intermediate, we have few, maybe a 10 years gap is there. So in these 10, 15 years gap, we need to fill that with certain requirements. So NBA is trying to do that filling. So how long, what is the life of NBA now? Once NEP come on the front, the NBA will multiply. So National Education Policy talks about the creativity. NBA will talks about the attributes. We need to have these qualities. Minimum these qualities are required. Now in the NBA, we are looking for the minimum qualities, and in the NEP, we are looking for the modern era of India, where we want to have more number of self or startups where they can develop their own indigenous systems. So program outcomes, it is talks about the skills, and program outcomes is with respect to that particular subject what the children has to learn, what is the outcome of that particular subject. So that you are relating it to the people. And in the OBE, there is a closing loop. So what is this? Alumni, vision, stakeholder, advisory, they all give to the PEOs. They give feedback to the PEOs. So once the PEO is modified of the department, so your program outcomes are also going to be modified. Once the program outcome is modified, your course outcome has to modify. So you have the individual groups there. So if I take with a course, you are giving assessment, you are analyzing it. If in the analysis process, you feel that some of them are acceptable and some of them are not acceptable. Some of them children are doing well, some of them children are not doing well. So what modification I have to make? So you have to make that modification. We'll call it as continuous quality improvement. Then we change it, not for the existing students. It is for next batch. Whatever the modification you want to do, it can happen only to the next batch. So one question is always, we are not teaching the same quality of students. But why this? But being a teacher, I know that this is how the things are changing. This is how the things are changing. And accordingly, I have to teach a better way to the next generation. So that's why this improvement, continuous improvement has to be there. We'll call it as a closed loop because whatever the query or ambiguity is there, you have to close it, complete it, such that you can further go with the things. Otherwise, what will happen? Keeps on open. There is no solution for that. It should always we have to have a closed feedback loop in the system. Now, coming back to the basics of MBA. So, first one is the engineering knowledge. That means in my subject, whether I am giving basics and engineering knowledge, I have to relate my subject to PO1. Okay. Now, digital circuits. It's a basic knowledge. I can connect only to the PO1. So, like this. And second one is problem analysis. That is how a concept, first PO is concept wise. Based on the concept, if you are developing some problem, finding solution for that, then it comes into the PO2. That means in your subject, whether it is only the conceptual things are there or solving problems is there. If solving problem is there, you can talk to PO2. And third one is design and development of the solution. That means I am going for now complex problems. I am going for the complex problems. Complex problems can have a definite solution in the stipulated time, or it may have no time boundaries. If the time boundary is not there, I cannot take it in the examination process. It has to be in the assignment process. Okay. So normally when you go for NBA cycle 2, so there we look at the complex problems, how you are addressing them in your project or in your subject, or in your labs as the open-ended experiments or something like that. So 1, 2, 3, it talks about the theory subjects. So whatever the theory subjects I am teaching, and whenever I am CO is mapped with the PO, it should be between 1, 2, and 3. Beyond that, the theory subjects will not go. Then we have to conduct investigation of complex problem. Conduct means it is the lab. So here, PO4 is talks about the lab process. So if you are doing a lab, you can connect it to the PO. All your COs, whatever you are writing, you can map it to the PO4. So we look at the Bloom's law. So when I completed my theory and labs, I have my question papers. In the question paper, what quality of questions I have to give. Whether I am looking at PO1, PO2 or PO3, based on that, your Bloom's taxonomy has to be addressed. If I am taking only the basic things like definitions, something like that, remember the kind of questions, I should put it as year 1. I am getting some explanation, describe, derive. All these are no things, but I am elaborating on that. So it is understanding. So it becomes L2. Then apply. A problem is given, and I am trying to find a solution out of it. So that is apply. So I can be L3. And analyze. Analyze means a problem is given, now you are asking whether to go with it or not. There is a question whether it is possible or not. So you have two answers, possible, not possible. If possible, why it is possible? If not possible, why it is not possible? You are evaluating it. So that becomes L4. In the question papers, we can have questions between L1 to L5. L5 and L6 will not be part of the question paper because it will take more time. Where in 3 hours, stipulated hours, we cannot perform the things. So in my question paper, I should not have L4 and L5 questions. Up to L1 to L4 is okay. Most of the cases we go for L2 and L3. L1 becomes very simple, L2 and L3. So and here choosing the words is very in the L2 and L3 when you are framing the question. That framing question should not be, every question should not be explain this, describe this, derive this. No. Then you have to use a different terminologies such that the question should appear little complex. In one chart, it should not be in the direct way. Little bit of a round of thing has to be there. And when you are talking with respect to the soft, medium and hard subject, so normally we go for 3 baskets. That means the entire curriculum has to be divided into these 3 baskets. Hard means for the children to reproduce, to work with. If it is taking a little more time, then we call them as the hard. So here in our sense, we talk with respect to passing percentage. If the passing percentage is less, we call them as the hard. Mathematical, more mathematical, it is hard. Electromagnetic theory, DSP, maths. Then we have the medium. Medium where you can really apply, like the programming concepts. Basic concepts of programming he can do. When I ask a problem or a question on the programming, he may not able to write. Or he has little struggle to do that. So that's going to be the medium. And soft one is where comfortably children can pass into the subjects. Soft you can relate it to PO1, medium you can relate it to PO2, and hard you can relate it to PO3. It becomes easy for you to correlate, map and correlate with the things. And in the COPO, we'll call it as the course articulation matrix. So here, if my subject is hard subject, I can connect it to the PO3 with my CO 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever it is, I can connect. Then I can put 1, 2, 3. Means what kind of questions I'm going to ask. If I'm asking, if I keep it as 1, that means in that particular chapter, with respect to that CO, I'm asking simple questions. Okay. Second one is, if I put it as 2, means I'm asking derivation, or I'm asking some substitute problems. Something. If I put 3, that means I'm going still higher. I'm not going to give the values directly, but you have to develop the data indirectly, and then you have to substitute in it, and finally you have to get the values. So based on that, how complex you are trying to provide your questions, based on that you have to put it as 1 to low, middle, medium and high. So that you have to decide. That means when you are writing this course articulation matrix, you should know what kind of questions you are going to ask in the examination. So accordingly, you need to say one example I can give. Define Ohm's law. What is this? Define Ohm's law.
Level 1.
It is L1, L2, L3. It is L1 because it is asked the definition. Standard statement is there. If I am able to represent that statement, it is L1. Now, derive Ohm's law. It becomes L2 because definition he will write. Then with the basics he will derive equation for Ohm's law. Third one, using Ohm's law, solve this equation or this circuit and find the values of currents, voltages, whatever it is. This is L3 because I have not given anything directly there. I am given the circuit. He has to apply the Ohm's law to that circuit, and then he has to find out what is the current voltage. So now it becomes electric. So only Ohm's law I am asking, but I can ask low, L1, medium, or I can go for the high. So how my questions will be in the examination? Based on that you have to mention. If you mention 3, the student will understand that for that particular CO, the questions will be more complex, more indirect. If you put 2, you will understand that it's only derivation or whatever, describe, explain, whatever, that kind of thing. So before you put those things, you have to have that particular concept in your mind. So this is very important for the teacher to map COP. And then we have the modern tool. Normally, in the particular subject, you may use or you cannot use. Modern tool means which is not part of your curriculum. PPT. It is not part of your curriculum, but you are asking the children to present it. So then it becomes a modern tool. And you are using EDC, SPICE or something like that, which is not part of your syllabus. You can use it. MATLAB, it is part of your syllabus. If MATLAB is part of your syllabus, you cannot call it as a modern tool because it is part of the syllabus. You cannot call it as a modern tool. So that you have to take care. If you want to put PO5 in your subject, see to it that are you using any modern tool and you have to evaluate that for marks. Then only you can use it, otherwise you cannot use it.
So one question is, in case of modern tool, since MATLAB is in the syllabus, some tools are not in the syllabus. So beyond that, can we use that?
Yes, sir. Anything other than syllabus, you can call it as modern. If it is part of the syllabus, engineer and society, that means whatever the problem you are addressing, whether it is helpful in this part of society, that you can mention. Normally, the projects will come, not the theory subjects. Environment and sustainability, again the project will come here. Ethics, in the subject whether ethics comes or not. Shall I put PO8 in my subject?
How will be evaluating? How will be assessing?
Ethics, are you evaluating by giving a question in your subject on ethics? Yes or no? No. Means you cannot use ethics in your subject. Whatever PO you are using, you have to evaluate in your subject. If you are not evaluating, don't do that. Normally in the project what will happen, you are using some standards, IEEE, something like that. There the ethics will come. Or you are not copying from something. There ethics will come into. Individuality work, again it is in the project. Communication, putting a report format or PPT format, conveying the people. All this comes in the project. Project management and balance, again, lifelong learning. Lifelong learning is, now I am teaching a subject. Is he going to use that subject? Now I am teaching VLSI. If I am generating only VLSI engineers, it is lifelong learning. If he shifted from VLSI to the management side, then, so lifelong learning is whatever you have learned, can you apply it? Can you apply it in other sense? In any other sense? Screwdriver example, what I taught you is only to screw it and unscrew it. But what all you are using? What are the purpose you are using it? You are using it for different purposes. That means you are applying it. If something is tight, then container, then you have to use it as a jack and then you try to open it. So you are applying your knowledge into it. So that if that is the case, It is called as the lifelong learning. The example is project. So in the project, what will happen? You are doing some experimentation, something goes wrong. So you put a lot of effort, and finally you will come out with a solution. Do you remember it for your lifetime or not? Because you have struggled so much, and finally you came out with a solution. Always it will be there in your mind. Whenever that kind of problem appears, what will happen? Immediately strikes, yes, I can use it here. So that is how the lifelong learning will come into the picture. So most of these things, instead of subject, we try to relate it to the project. Either it will be the mini project or it will be the final project of the system. PSO. So here I got 12 things. This is other than these 12 things. An ability to apply design principles in the development of hardware software systems. Again, I am looking at the how he is going to apply the conceptual things in a different manner. Or to enhance the soft skills for the modern technology, different softwares you are using, not which is not the part of your curriculum, but you have learned for your project, and then you are trying to use them. This is an example. That means, other than POs, what is that special things, edge things, which you are teaching your students such that he can enhance the system. So this is a course example. So we have few COs and we can relate these. The subject is engineering design. So many numbers are appeared in the system. If you are taking a simple subject with a regular curriculum, only one column will be there. And this is a program articulation matrix. With all the courses, you have to ensure that all the PO 1 to 12 and PSO should cover at the end. So that's the reason why the program articulation is going to be used. Then we look at the higher end things. So minor project rubrics, we say that. So I told ethics, how to evaluate. Communication, how to evaluate. So here we take them in terms of the rubrics and then we try to evaluate them. Then we have a threshold and student above threshold. Threshold will talk about what should the percentage in that particular subject you want to achieve. That is going to be the threshold. Percentage of students above the threshold. So now I am making that 68% is what I have kept the threshold. How many students should cross that threshold? 70% of my students should cross 68%. That means now if I have 10 students, 7 students should score more than 68%. If that is the case, I can call attainment is 3. If it is less than that, I can call it as 2. Still less than that, I can call it as 1. We don't have 0 attainment. Attainment has to be 1, 2 or 3. So then you have to say 70 and above attainment is 3. 60 and above attainment is 2. 50 and above attainment is 1. Don't take 40 as a base because 40 is passing. Okay. Now, once if you achieve this, now you got attainment 3. Now you have to change these values. If you are getting 3, you improve it. Say, instead of 68, you make it 75. Instead of only 75, 70% of students, you make it 75. So, at any point of time, you cannot have attainment as 3. So, you try to adjust the values. So, you keep on, that's why it is in the loop. So, these are few words which you need to prefer to use when you are preparing the question. It's better to use this Bloom's taxonomy. So at the time of MBA, you will be cool. Okay? Question paper quality. If these terminologies are there in your question paper, if you mention it as entry level, whatever it is, easily accepted. Otherwise, we can only describe this several times, explain this several times. So the quality of question paper is not. So same question, put it in. Here's a question paper. If you look into the question paper, I have calculate, assume, suppose, sampling, and a problem is there. I discuss. So no word is like repeating. So now what will happen? The person who is looking at will have a short memory. Like, okay, he's looking for common words. If it is not available, he will say, okay, the quality is good. Further, he will not go through everything what you have written. But look at common things. Common things are most of us will derive, discuss, explain. These are the common things when you are writing the question. Now the same thing you try to put in the different words. Okay. So that's how you can work with the question papers. And CO attainment. So CO attainment is that 68%, 70%. 68%, 70% students should be able to cross 68%, then the attainment is there. So anyway, you got the result sheet. Based on that, you can put what is that attainment. One is called CIE, is your internals, and SE is your final examination. Take both of them, average it. So what is your overall attainment for the first CO? For first PO, it is 2.39. So in this particular subject, I am able to achieve 2.39. So now I have achieved 2.39. Next year, for the next batch, I can make instead of 68%, I can make it as 75%. Students I can retain 71. So whether I am able to achieve this 2.39 or not, still I am achieving, then you keep on increasing. So it is incremental change. If you are not achieving, you can decrease it. No need that you can go up, even you can decrease it based upon the requirement. It's a continuous improvement, what I was talking about. Okay, one example as a case study, I will write how to write things. So here, I have written one CO. So in the PO, I can have L, M, and H. Okay, any one of them, 1, 2, or 3 I can put. Levels of questions, what I am expecting is L2 and L. So L is said to ensure that students have strong conceptual understanding. Students are having the prerequisite knowledge of electromagnetic theory. This CO covers the basic principles involved in wireless communication. More number of students are expected to attempt and answer the related questions. Okay, that's the expectation. Now what happened? Earlier I have kept target as 80. Now what is my target? 7. Why? Because as more number of numerical problems arises and complexity of question is increased, there is a need for the complex analysis and identification of parameters and the relevant mathematical relations to solve the problems. Hence, the target is reduced. That means I have reduced. Why I have reduced the target? If you increase the target, there is no question. You can write earlier whatever the condition was set has been achieved. Hence, I am increasing the target. Got it? So likewise, whatever CO you have, you should have why you are writing it as 1, 2, or 3 LMH. That explanation you have to give. Target setting, again you have to give a proper explanation for that. Similarly, one more CO. I have retained the target level as 60 itself. And I am addressing PO 1 and 2. Here I am looking for the questions. L2 type, L3 type, or L type. So H and M capability I want to look at the higher. So 60% I have retained because no need to change. Likewise, for all the COs I can write. And at the end, the threshold set for the current semester is 72%. Earlier I kept it for 70, now I kept it 2 as compared with the previous. And the reformation of the COs. Are you changing the COs? I said, no, I don't want to change anything, I want to retain that. So it is nil. Result, what is the previous result of that? So I got it as 97. So here I have the analysis. For first box is for the internals, second box is for the final examination. So I have a set of attainment. I have taken those attainments and have averaged it for that respect. And then in vertical column, if you average it, so this vertical column, if you average it, it will be my P1 attainment. So that is how I am trying to compare. What I have done here, I taught the subject, I have given the sample question paper, then I have given my course articulation matrix, and based upon my sample paper and other things, people have written their examination, I have evaluated their examination, and I have kept the threshold. Based upon threshold condition, I have achieved the result. Based upon the achievement of the result, I have analyzed it, and finally I say, this is my pure attainment in this particular subject. So, the national education policy is creating interest and developing them. And in the OBE, whatever you say, you do it. And show the result. Whatever you say, you have done it, result is good, then change the levels. Whatever you say, you have not done, modify in your process. Whatever you have done still, you have not done, not after modification also not achieved, then the vary the targets and see. So NBA says that it is first left. You say what you want to do. And at the end of the semester, you show that what you want to do, you have done it or not. If you have done it, change the improvement. If you have not done it, change the procedure. Okay, it's a continuous process. It's not that not done means you cannot be on the done. Not done, yes, it is not done. Because of these reasons, which whatever that reason you incorporate in the upcoming semesters and do the modification. I hope I have communicated. I don't say understood, communicated. So, great, big thanks. If you have any questions, you can please ask. No questions? Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Do we make a quality question paper? So, as that it be a challenging subject, analytically challenging, difficult to convince student, easy to like, simple, theoretical subject. So, what is your suggestion so that they will also be comfortable to attain?
Normally, what the regular practice is, they give assignments. Whatever the question you want to ask. Say, in the question paper, you have 16 questions. You give assignment of 100 questions, where all the possible questions mentioned. So, it's already they have seen that question, so in the examination now, they will not become panic, because already they have seen that question. But when as an external person I come, I don't know what you have done there. I will see only your question paper. If it contains those terms, different terms, I say that the qualities. I never go deep into your, I don't have that much time. So first you make your children learn that process by doing an assignment or whatever. Then you can, because you are not giving only 16 questions. That is it. Because only that should not be the question. Okay. You give more, 1:5 kind of. In examination, one question will appear, but you give 5 questions. In out of this one will come. That is okay. So that as an assignment, so it is a practice. From there you pick only from the assignment. There is no issue.
Is it only with respect to that, I have to go for L1, L2, L3, all three should be there or something like that?
That's what I mean. In your CAB you are defining. For this CO1 is chapter 1. What kind of questions you are asking? So L2 or L3, whatever you mentioned. I mentioned here L3, L4. So it is not true. So simple questions. But looking at L3, L4 means I am looking at evaluation process or analytical process, analyzing things. So this you have defined. The questions has to be on this. So your CAM, you are giving a clear picture to the student what kind of questions you are going to ask in the examination. Okay. Now you have to be going. So what to make them practice, you give the assignment. So they will be practiced better. So they will not become a panic. They will not become. So they are able to write things. Any other questions?
Thank you, sir, from all the participants for your valuable insights and engaging in the session regarding outcome-based education, process of education and national education policy, and also your knowledge and expertise helped us to learn and how to do the assessment. Now I request Dr. Shobha Shankar, Dean Academics Affairs, Autonomous, to hand over the small token of appreciation to today's resource person, Dr. Priyatam Kumar, Professor and PG Coordinator, School of Electronics and Communication, KLE Technological University, Hubballi.